Thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in the GYNOCARE training school supported by the Cost Action. I am Carmela Caballero and I will be sharing my perspectives about developing a surgical research curriculum in a low-resource setting. Here's a brief outline of my discussion for today. As mentioned, I am working for the Breast International Group located in Brussels, Belgium. We are a group that facilitates international collaboration on breast cancer research, and we have conducted large international trials that have contributed to practice change in breast cancer. By profession, I am a general surgeon and I trained from the Philippines. Currently, I am affiliated with the European Society of Surgical Oncology and I am serving as the chair of its Young Surgeons Alumni Club. I'm also participating as a mentor for younger students in the Philippines through the program Science Integrated Direction for High School Investigators mentorship program, and we work with young students from the Philippines. So very briefly, I just want to tell you where I come from. I come from the Philippines. I trained as a general surgeon in the Philippines. This is a country that is still considered a low and middle income country according to World Bank standards. It's an archipelago of 7,100 plus islands, and we are a population of 110 million Filipinos. Now that Belgium is my second home, I've been here for maybe almost now 10 years. It doesn't escape me that there is such a big gap between the reality of performing research in the Philippines, my home country, and a place like Belgium where we're very blessed with a very good infrastructure for cancer care and research. To begin the discussion, I think it's very important to remind ourselves, why do surgeons need to be engaged in cancer research? Despite the availability of new drugs, surgeons play a critical role in cancer treatment. They are usually still the first point of contact of patients, and they have a very big influence on how patients will decide for their treatments. Surgeons play a critical role in diagnosis of a disease and in the evaluation of the operability of a patient. They play a key role in the multidisciplinary team discussions, and this MDT approach to cancer care is so critical for improving patient outcomes. And very true, as most especially in a low resource setting, surgery is still the primary cancer treatment. Most patients will still need cancer surgery at least once in their treatment journey. Surgeons have a very important role in advancing knowledge about cancer, and this is because we have a unique perspective into the patient's treatment journey. From pre-op, intra-op, post-op, their return to normal life, and we are still there when relapses happen. We can perform curative or palliative surgery, and from time to time, surgeons are there to witness the survivorship journey of patients. This is such a unique opportunity to learn more about the disease and to better understand patients. Is essential. More than 80% of cancer patients have evidence-based indication for surgery. Primary cancer treatment in most low-resource settings is still surgery upfront, and more than three-quarters of cancer surgeries are unfortunately judged to be unsafe, not deliverable, or unaffordable in many low and middle income countries. However, by 2030, more than three-quarters of all cancers are predicted to be occurring in low and middle income countries. So if we think about the bigger picture, we will need to change our mindset. Surgical research can no longer remain a simple academic requirement. Surgical research is the lifeline for patients, especially in a low resource setting. However, we recognize the challenges, and I will give you an example from my own country, the Philippines, where 6 out of 10 Filipinos die without ever seeing a doctor. Cancer is the fourth leading cause of death in the Philippines. Among 110 million Filipinos, there are only 348 medical oncologists, 164 surgical oncologists, and more than half are based in the National Capital Region in Manila. This means that majority of our remaining 7,100 plus islands do not have specialized doctors who can treat cancer. What is also very sad is that the research output in the Philippines is very, very low. We are a top contributor to global randomized clinical trials. However, our own research output or papers published focused on cancer is very, very low. It's just 1%. A recent paper described the challenges in research in low and middle income countries. And in this slide, we can see the figures. On the left-hand figure, we can see the low and middle income countries that have contributed to accrual for global randomized clinical trials that were mostly led by high-income countries. We have Ukraine, India, Philippines, Egypt, and Georgia. If we look at the cancer research output of these countries, it's only India that really has a high bibliometric cancer research output, meaning all the papers from their country published about cancer. From upper middle income countries, we have Russia, Brazil, Romania, China, Mexico, South Africa, Turkey, and Thailand. And very, very clear, China is the only country which is able to produce a lot of cancer research from their own country. And the paper concluded that low and middle income country participation in randomized clinical trials led by high income countries is not building enough clinical research capacity in these low resource settings. The reasons might be already obvious to all of us, and this includes overwhelming clinical workload, lack of funding at institutional and national levels, lack of infrastructure to perform and manage research, lack of role models, lack of leadership and incentives to perform research. There are also differences in the research priorities between high and low and middle income countries. From high income countries, obviously the research priorities include precision oncology, immune therapy, biomarker discovery, and robotic surgery. Most of these are still come at a high cost and unaffordable and inaccessible for low and middle income countries. Because the reality is that in low resource settings, patients come at a very late stage in their disease. There is lack of access and lack of affordability of many new drugs that are available in high income countries, and there is great variability in the quality of care because of lack of centralized cancer centers. However, there are opportunities for collaboration and opportunities for a common research, whether you're coming from a high income or a low income country. And this includes research on quality improvement, best value research based on local capacity, and patient reported outcomes. What we can really say is that cancer research in low resource settings need to be tailored according to their own needs. And there are many opportunities for best value research, which include quality improvement, interdisciplinary research, and improvement of cancer registries to generate data for the future. We need to start somewhere despite all the challenges. We also need to look ahead in the future. In order to develop a good surgical research agenda and eventually a national research agenda, we need to invest in people, especially in a multidisciplinary team approach and in building core research units. We need to invest in training and mentorship, maybe not just for the students, but also for more senior members of the surgical community. We must not forget to listen to our patients, because by doing so, this is where we will identify what will be the questions or the kinds of research that will respond to their needs. We need to strengthen the research infrastructures in our country despite minimal resources. As mentioned, it is so important in a low resource setting to improve the capacity and to really improve the capabilities of cancer registries. We need very good quality data from cancer registries. We need to learn about research management, funding management, and monitoring of funds for research. We need to link research teams within an institution, and we need to link different research teams across hospitals. We also need to learn to go out of the box. If we will develop a sustainable research program, we need to engage with innovators and businesses that can potentially be interested and be supportive of surgical research. We need to learn how to harness technology and understand how these will respond to the needs of a low resource setting. And as mentioned, we need to foster collaborations across specialties, across institutions, and across different countries, probably across different low middle income countries. So here is a proposal for a surgical research curriculum that might be tailored for a low and middle income country. As we have already said, we need to lead our own research tailored according to the needs of a low resource setting. Because of the greater cancer burden from our countries, we need to have greater investment in cancer research, and we need to develop surgeons who are leaders of cancer research. It is so important to integrate the culture of research, multidisciplinary approach, and patient-centered care early on in the surgical training. The European Society for Surgical Oncology has already published a global curriculum in research literacy for surgical oncologists. And there, they already mentioned a core curriculum to improve research literacy among surgeons, that this includes critical thinking, ethics in research, different types of study designs, and basic biostatistics, and research writing, grant applications, and presentations. We also need to learn about how to interpret and communicate research. However, I would argue that if we will look ahead and we will think about the future, surgeons have to have knowledge investments on mathematics, medical engineering, bioinformatics, translational research, molecular biology. We need to understand about real-world data and big data and how to interpret research from this. And not to be underestimated, we need to understand the business of research and how we will sustain a national research program. Critical skills that we need is to listen and understand patient perspectives. We need to know how to network and to foster collaborations. Resource management is something we need to be trained on. We need to be adept at project management and organization, and we need surgeons to be creative and with a bold mindset for improving the status quo. Here is then a proposal for developing surgeon scientists. Surgeons with skill, knowledge, and a critical mind who can be leaders in improving quality of care and outcomes of patients. This takes time, and therefore we need to invest in developing surgeon scientists very early on. So the first level is really about encouraging critical thinking and asking the right questions, understanding the levels of evidence and the basics of biostatistics. Then at the second level, we need to inculcate the principles of good clinical practice, and all surgeons need to be trained and certified in ICH GCP. They need to understand the basics of data and sample collection, and they also need to have a good grasp of basic and advanced study designs and how this can be implemented in a protocol. On the third level, they must learn how to write a research proposal and eventually a full protocol. This needs collaboration with a research team or a core research team, and therefore it will need collaboration with a statistician, potentially a data manager, and students will need a mentor so that they could write a good and a high quality research protocol. Of course, they need to learn how to write an informed consent that is understandable for patients. On the next level, they need to be knowledgeable, or they need to train on data analysis, data visualization and presentation, writing a full manuscript, and a grant proposal. Finally, they need to learn how to communicate their research, not just among their peers in an international conference, but most importantly, how to communicate research with the lay public, with the patients. As an option, surgeons can be exposed to international research fellowships that can be, it's not just about surgical research, but this research fellowships on methodology, translational research, molecular biology, understanding new technologies, understanding quality of life research, cost effectiveness, and even health policy. They can also be trained additionally on research management. because of our unique role in the continuum of cancer care, surgeons actually have so many research opportunities. But it's up to us to be open-minded into and to actually be brave to lead these kinds of research. Surgical research can improve patient outcomes and hospital efficiency, and investing in this kind of research can truly generate profits. Surgical research curriculum must be linked to a national research agenda. There are so many gains from investing in cancer surgery research. Definitely, this will have a big impact on developing effective and safe treatments, improving cancer care pathways, and developing centers of excellence that also can lead to new opportunities for sustainable funding and international collaborations. As a conclusion, surgical research is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is very true that there are so many challenges, but there is hope, and we need to start now. Thank you so much, and I will be happy to receive your questions and your comments.
Carmela, thank you very much for this presentation. And I was thinking, of course, we can have discussion at the end, but I was thinking I have one question for you and for our next speaker, which is Professor Ricardo Odizio. And we know he's editor-in-chief of the European Journal of Surgical Oncology. So you and me, we do the research, and he's evaluating it in this way. So what if in low resource situations, or not so low resource, sometimes the quality is a problem. So, I don't know, sometimes I wonder, should we actually do the research if we cannot provide the quality what is needed? This is a problem. So should we do it? And is it, sometimes think it's a wasting of time.
So, should I answer it, Mariella?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So, my short answer to your question is that yes, we should do research in even in the simplest way possible. I think the it is true that from low resource settings, sometimes the level of quality of the research that is produced is not very high. But remember in the graph that I showed you a while ago, you can see that one of the top the top research outputs, the origin of the highest number of cancer research output is coming from India, which is categorized still as a low and middle income country. So we probably need to learn from them or from our colleagues. We have several colleagues, at least from ESO, who are from India and who are really leading research despite the challenging setting. I think that if we recognize that in our, for example, in the Philippines, you've seen the numbers. We produce very, very little research. I think it's a vicious. The only way to break this vicious cycle is if we start with something basic and something simple and something that is really, as simple as just really good data collection. And this is something that can be a first step. You publish it and then you improve based on what you have seen. You will try, probably the hospital can try to improve their system based on their research. So it's like, it's a little by little, very small steps need to be taken. If we will now give up and say,
we don't produce good quality, therefore we stop, then that's the end of the story. So I think that we should still try as much as possible, start from the basic, start from the simple kinds of research, and we move little by little from there, I think.